Should we do this again, shall we? You reckon so? Yeah. How's your approval? Come on, tell me, yes or no? Thank you. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Arr. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Willkommen, bonjour, aloha, ciao, ahoy, all the others as well. How the devil are you? Replay crew, as you're the only people who are watching this part. Yella, how you doing, Sammy boy? Good to see you, you gorgeous beast of a man. How the devil have you been? Let's start as we need to go on with a cigarette. Oh, trying to get all smexy for me. Oh dear. Well, you ain't got as much places to hide anymore in the back garden. Working on the beach bod for the winter. That's the best beach bod, is a winter beach bod. Personally, I have an Alaskan winter beach bod. A northern Alaskan. Well, there's nobody there and it's really dark. I look absolutely amazing in pitch black conditions. You'd never tell me apart from Chris Hemsworth. Or a sumo wrestler. All three look exactly the same in the dark. Except my skin's probably reflective. There we go. No, I'm not saying I glitter and sparkle like a Twilight vampire. At least my teeth won't glow like Ross's from Friends, though. Yeah. I gave up on a beach bod. Don't think I ever worried about it. Mostly because I don't like the beach, especially the sandy beaches that everyone seems to go crazy for. Because what is there? Sand and water. Well, I don't really like going in water, and I don't like getting sand in all my crevices and food. And just sitting there staring at nothing is kind of boring. Not going to lie. Yeah, I can think of much more enjoyable beaches to spend time at. Ones with lots of rock pools and interesting rocks and pebbles and shipwrecks and groins and all sorts of stuff. That's groins with a Y, not an I, and an extra E as well. Places that attract wildlife. Yeah. Sandy beach is just sand. There's no wildlife there. Might get the odd sandfly or seagull, but that's about it. So yeah, I'd rather go somewhere where there's all sorts of interesting little creatures scurrying about and to look out for and find. And yeah. So when anyone moans about the beach was rubbish, that's my kind of beach. kind of the exact opposite of my colleague who went on. Is Halloween big there? Not really. I mean, it's getting bigger, but it's getting Americanized, which is kind of annoying. So when I was little, it was more about the actual historical All Hallows Eve rather than anything else. There was a bit of trick-or-treating going on, but it was more about, you know, the original meaning of it. Not, hey, let's give all the children diabetes day. Yeah, I'll say it's getting bigger because the shops keep advertising it. Howdy, Ricky, how you doing? Yes, I don't get any at all anymore. The general rule is if there isn't a pumpkin or decorations outside, you don't knock on the door. Because having pumpkin and decorations means you're taking part in the celebration. And if you don't have any, then you're not. And I think the kids have basically learned that knocking on my door in the evening or late at night is just a bad idea. Scary as Halloween decorations of Megan's law sign. or one that's just says Trump on it. That's pretty scary. Don't want to go knocking on that door. You might get given some Cheetos or shot. One or the other. Tommy! How you doing, you spexy beast? Oh, what was that? Trying to think. There was a very small indie band, 3 members. They were called 29 Fingers. You weren't in there, were you? You weren't one of the members of that band? Sorry. It came to me this morning. And I thought, oh yeah. Yes, Tommy, I was thinking about you while in the bath. All is well in Texas, except the astonishing amount of mosquitoes at the moment. And Tap Tom is on hurricane cleanup. Extra work for you then. Hopefully you and everyone you know are safe and well and property not overly damaged. Been bit at least a few dozen times. Pretty hot. You're thinking about me. Well, yeah, I was naked as well, Tommy. I was in a bubble bath. Yeah. Just rolling in it. His phone's been ringing off the hook. Yeah, so as long as everyone fish family wise is doing well, that's the main thing. But yeah, it's bubbles with some bubbly, listening to some Bublé. No, actually, I was listening to an audiobook of The Monkey's Paw. Coincidentally, that only had 4 fingers as well. Howdy, Linkbot. Yeah, I listen to some weird stuff in the bath, or just in general. I say that The Monkey's Paw is only a very short story, but what the author manages to get into that what takes about 25 minutes to read. Yes, and considering when it was written, it was actually pretty terrifying. Especially as you let your imagination go with it. It's one of the old classics. It's not quite as classic as Poe or Lovecraft or M.R. James or anything like that, but it's getting there. Yeah, things Sharpe is never going to listen to in the bath. Michael Bublé. Heck, I try not to listen to music in the bath because I'll either start singing along, or if the singer is someone I'm attracted to, I might start getting naughty thoughts. And hot water, bubbles. Nobody wants floating egg white in the bath. And yes, if you have the bath water hot enough, it does cook. Yeah, so we didn't get a hurricane here, thankfully. We had some rather strong winds on Friday. Thankfully, my fence didn't come down. None of them. Plenty did, judging by the amount of axes and chainsaws we sold over the weekend. And we actually had a tornado warning in Attleborough. Didn't hear about any actually touching down, but it's not unheard of for us to get tornadoes here. Now, I say tornadoes, think like a slightly more energetic dust devil than a full-blown F4 or F5 or anything like that. The most damage one has done was, and this is how Norfolk it gets, and you got the tornado in Attleborough on the thing outside the newsagents, and it blew off about half a dozen slates off people's roofs on the high street, and it blew over a couple of sandwich board markers outside shops, and that was enough to make the news. Almost as good as the time our former mayor got shot with an air rifle in the arm and had to be taken to hospital for treatment. Now, I'm looking at the people that are here. I'm probably not the only one that's been shot with an air rifle here or something bigger. And especially as UK air rifles are limited on power, unless you have a full license, anything more than a few dozen yards, especially through clothing, is barely going to break the skin. And the worst you're going to have to do is go, what the heck? Ow, ow. Pull out the pellet and go, I'm leaking. And then stick a band-aid or plaster over it. That's it. You don't need to go to hospital for an air rifle shot. I say that as someone who's been shot in the head with an air rifle. And I've been hit in the back with a shotgun more than once. Yeah, it's lovely. You're sitting there fishing away and you hear the bang of a shotgun off in the not too distant, and shot my eye with an air rifle. The kid lived behind me across the creek. Still to this day has a BB stuck in his arm. We're 35 now. That was back when we were 12. Yeah. I mean, yeah, being shot in the eye, then maybe hospital treatment, but shot in the arm, nah. Especially as I say, unless it's to have one above a certain power, you need a full. That's why you wear the glasses. But the legal limits without a firearms license in the UK are £6 for an air pistol and £12 for a rifle. And if you know air rifle powers, £12 you can just about take out a rat at about 20 yards with it. Whole eye was red from blood, no colour, blind for a few weeks. Oh dear. Still, I bet he looks cool though. Completely red eye. You know, these are the things that kids. I'm not saying shoot people in the eyes, but these are the kind of things that kids need to do. Yeah. How do you put it without sounding like you wish harm on children? It's like those of us a certain age or a generation or come from a certain background, we learn how to fall out of a tree, how to crash our bike, fall over, tuck and roll, all these good things. And we learned what level of pain was a proper injury and what was I'll be okay. What size cut meant you had to go to hospital, what size cut meant just stick a plaster on it, band-aid, that kind of stuff. Instantly sick because of the pressure, vomited immediately, many days after. Yeah, I've never been shot in the eye. I mean, I've been punched in the eye quite a few times. Thankfully, only twice through my glasses. The second time, I don't know what happened to the other guy. The first time was at school, after school youth club, and the boy punched me in the face. I can't remember why. We were friends, and we remained friends after it. It's very strange. Howdy, M&C. How you doing? Yeah, so I ended up with cuts under my eye and still got a scar there now. Going back 35 years, maybe more. Definitely more. 10, 38 years. Until the moment. And my mum was so mad she spanked you. And then yeah, exactly. Damn millennials. Actually upset a colleague at work this week because she was going on about millennials and Gen Zers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hang on. How old are you? She said, you're a millennial. No, I'm not. I'm Gen X. I'm like, no, you're not old enough to be Gen X. What? I said, well, I'm only 4 years into Generation X. That makes you a millennial. I'm not a bloody millennial. I'm not a millennial. Look it up and yeah, you are. Also turned out the assistant manager is a millennial as well. It's also different, yeah. So we learned how to injure ourselves and how to reduce the impact of the impact. Yeah, exactly. You go out in the woods and out in the countryside, as we'd say around here. Go out in the countryside. Yeah. Gen Y? Yeah. Millennials normally aren't too bad. It's Gen Zers that are kind of the issue. They're the ones that seem to think that Gen X has got off of the hook and it says, boomers. Well, What about Gen X? Why is no one having a go at Gen X? And then you get a Gen X and go, this is why no one's having a go at Gen X. Because we will rip you to pieces. And don't forget, all your bosses are probably Generation X, so you don't want to go upsetting them. That was like Bill Gates once used to say, wasn't it? It's like, don't bully the nerd at school. The nerd, the geek, the dork. Don't bully them at school, because chances are they're going to be your boss. As I say, it's one of them things where it's a complete generalisation, and it's more down to background and upbringing. Those who had a slightly harsher childhood grew up learning, yeah, that's just a slight sprain. That'll be fine. There's no need to even say anything, because I'll either get ignored or I'll just have to go to the doctors and then get told to rest it in bed for a week or something, and I'll be bored stiff. Yeah, millennials are the whiniest, but it's the younger ones, the younger millennials generally. Yeah, exactly. Boomers made Gen X, and now they're scared of us. So, oh, we have created a monster. Oh dear. Whoops. I hear us referred to as the feral generation. As why is wondering why haven't Gen X killed us there? That's because we need someone to do the work when we retire. While you're in between parents and boomers. Yeah, it's you're only 6 years off the cut off for Gen X. There's a few good videos where it's like Gen Z reacts to Gen X childhood, and it's be like the pictures and stuff of kids doing kids stuff and what we used to do as kids, like drinking out of the hose or jumping our bikes and seeing how many of our friends we could jump over. Whoever was nuts enough to be last in line. And it wouldn't be a properly made jump, all careful and properly. It'd be a couple of milk crates and a plank. Just stack the milk crates up, lay the plank on the top, and hit it with your bike. See how far you go. No nice soft pit to land in. Yeah, metal slides in the sun, yes. Back in the 80s, labelled as Ronald Reagan babies. Obsessed with money, sex, cars, and jewellery. Everybody dies. Who's next? Could be you or me. Heavily sedated. I've never been this faded. Yep. I'm trying to remember the words I remember. I'm just trying to remember the song or the band name. Oh. It's not coming to me. We've been having some very strange radio stations on at work at the moment, and I blame the new assistant manager. She's like 6 years younger than me, and is sort of kind of likes 80s pop. So we've had like 80s pop radio stations on, and while I know the songs, I'm not saying I choose to listen to them, but at least they don't play Coldplay or Nickelback or Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift or any of the R&B stuff. Yeah, spin the merry-go-round as fast as you could till either someone shoots off because they can't hold on anymore. That was it. Yeah, or everyone vomits because all the kids who get travel sick and can't get off because it's going too fast end up vomiting and it just curls out in a mass circle of projectile vomit. Yeah, seeing how high you could bounce your mate off of the teeter-totter seesaw. That's how I found out. That's how I find out. I mean, I don't get car sick, but I do get motion sick. So, theme parks, it's just pointless. Because one ride and I'll feel sick for the rest of the day. Yeah, merry-go-rounds, go around at lunatic speed, and then the swings, where you see how high you can get and see if you can get go over the top. And then see how far you could jump when you got off of it. You're swinging almost horizontally and then launching yourself off of the seat. The one that's sitting in the middle. Oh. Although in the middle, you're in the middle, there'll be less centripetal force. And you'll be moving slower. My sister-in-law, when she kicked me. Yeah, exactly. We did that kind of thing. Yeah. She's 6.5 years old. So I got my butt kicked a lot, yeah. Until you grew bigger, yeah. Yeah, that happened. Might is right. Yeah, same. Other one's 79. She's still a bubba. Yeah, and that was when playgrounds didn't have like super deep beds of bark chippings or squidgy floors so that you don't hurt yourself if you fall off. You get on the monkey bars, hang upside down, and then you'd slip and land on your head and get back up again. October 79, October 13th, best birthday ever. Especially if it falls on a Friday. I tried to jump on a merry-go-round at full speed. It wasn't pretty. I can imagine. That's going to take some timing. Because basically, you got to jump before one bar goes past. Because by the time you've got there, that one will have gone past. But you've got to get there before the second one comes. And there were the two types as well of the merry-go-rounds. There was the ones where it was a flat bit with the bars that you can hang on to. You know, the other ones that were just like a flat spider web of metal. Yeah, those ones were really dangerous because you could hang upside down off of those. And then when someone did fall off, the next go round, yeah, everyone smacked them with their head. I'm amazed we didn't all end up with whiplash or broken necks, to be honest. We broke plenty of other bones instead. Howdy, Jeff. How you doing? How is the Empire of Dirt? I'm taking it that isn't although it might be, Nine Inch Nails reference, the Empire of Dirt. Deb's me darling. Yeah, the old wooden ones with the metal frames, yes, they were just as dangerous. Oop, lunch break. Tommy got it. Yeah, a little bit of that. Good. We all like a bit of a downward spiral then. Actually, as you may know, may remember, I don't know. I watch quite a lot of reaction videos on YouTube, and it's a good way of watching and listening to the songs I like, and then hearing someone else's viewpoint and opinions. And it was 3 K-pop fans, so you can imagine what they're like. And they were reacting to the uncensored version of Closer. Yeah, I think they might still be having nightmares. And if you are of a sensitive kind of soul, don't search out Nine Inch Nails Closer uncensored. Especially if you don't like spiders, pigs' heads, monkeys being crucified. All the other nasty stuff in that video. What's my favourite cryptid? Good question. Yeah, very good question. And how do you break it down? Because I could say black shark, but shark is more of a paranormal entity than a cryptid. Favorite wise, I think it's probably got to be something that could actually exist, not something that's ludicrously ridiculous, like Nessie. Oh, I'm fully familiar with the Wendigo. Ithaca, something like that. I don't speak whichever Native American language that is. Yes, I'm fully familiar with that one. Was it Clark Ashton Smith? I think it might have been. Wrote a very good short story, Algonquin. Yeah, I don't speak Algonquin. I'd probably go something along the lines of Bigfoot, the Sasquatch, and all the various other names. Because hear me out on this. The places that even if like anything paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptidy, even if you take out all the obvious fakery, all the people who are mistaking a bear or a hairy person in the woods they're not expecting to see, or there's still enough, not necessarily evidence, but still enough stories and thoughts about it, and it goes back centuries, the stories, millennia, and it covers the whole globe. What a Scotch specific episode. Old Boss has some of the best and most used footage on TV and online. Love to interview him. That would be cool. I mean, you can also interview Whip from Whip's World, because I'm pretty sure he's part Bigfoot or Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. And I know he won't get upset with me saying that, because I've said it to his face. Well, not to his face, but definitely part Wookiee at least. The way I look at these things is all these things probably have a figment of truth to them. It's not all just stories made up to scare children from not going into the dark and scary woods. so they don't get lost and eaten by bears or whatever. And something like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, given where it tends to be sighted the most is where people aren't. The stories, as I say, cross the world. And if you look where the boreal forest runs, it's pretty much anywhere there's boreal forest, there's Bigfoot tails. And you go a bit further south, near, you've got the Yeti, incorrect name and pronunciation, but then everyone knows what I'm talking about. The basically the same thing, but white and lives in the mountains. Then you go to Australia, you got the Yowie, which is the same thing, just with a different name. And where's the evidence? Why haven't we found a dead one? Why hasn't someone shot one? Why haven't? So, well, they're probably, like most wild creatures, trying to stay away from us. Some people call me back in the day, just took too many trippy fungus and put on makeup made from fungus spores and animal blood and decided to chase little children they thought were goblins. Trying to go, yeah. It's a squire of seahorses, which actually works really well, being that squires look after nice horses. How you doing, Raina? Yeah, probably be something like Bigfoot, or maybe one of the water-based ones, not like the Kraken as big as it was made out to be, but yeah, I'd say it's all the folkloric stories that come from across the world and through centuries and millennia. And yeah, let's say, for example, they're a great ape of some flavour. Well, it wasn't until like the 70s that we discovered mountain gorillas. They're not exactly small, and they've got a fairly small area of the world they live in, which is actually populated. So, Goatman, I've heard. Is it Goatman on a bridge? I've heard that one. Goatman's Bridge. That's probably a different story. Or the Lake Worth monster, but it's Goatman. And Mothman. There's so many different stories over the years, we'll just say, because it makes it easier. And there's got to be something. I'm Buzzy Balmy, Iraq for 352.8 gallon, 200 litre, 326 gallon. Skinwalkers as well. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch you can't forget about. Definitely something weird going on there. Wolfman is just Sam out walking the dog at night. That's all that is. I mean, werewolves, did the story of werewolves come from wild men who wore wolf pelts and were particularly aggressive towards other people, like didn't go anywhere near other people unless they needed something, and then they just kind of took it? There's plenty of strange people that live out in the woods worldwide, just want to get away from everything. There's that one, can't remember somewhere in Northern America. He got disappeared and no one knew where he was, and he turned up like 20 or 30 years later. He'd just been living in the forest and nobody ever saw him. Irrefutably something heavy and obtuse metal under Skinwalker Ranch. Yeah. There's something there. I mean, we don't know what it is. Yeah, and I mean, no, we declare creatures extinct all the time, and semi-regularly they turn up again. Like the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, that got declared extinct when the last one in the zoo died off. And over the years, there have been sporadic sightings, much like, say, the big cats in the UK. No, there's no such. No, no, no. There's no big cats in the UK. Well, where do you think all the ones that people had as pets? Where do you think they all went when when it became illegal to own something like that as a pet? They didn't all go to zoos. Some of them will have just been released. These days, yeah. So I'm not entirely into the whole crystals thing, but I bought Mary an amethyst necklace a few years back. Nothing expensive, just I mean it looks pretty, but yeah, it's not like 24 karat gold or platinum or anything. Might be sterling silver if we're lucky. Amethyst is supposed to protect against negative entities, negative spirits, bad juju, that kind of stuff. And we've encountered our fair share of not pleasant spirits, ghosts, paranormal, whatever you want to call it, over the years. And that amethyst has gone black. Now, Mary doesn't smoke. It's not like she wears it all the time. She doesn't use any strong lotions or anything on her skin because she's allergic to most of it. And, amethysts aren't particularly known for going black. And it is a real amethyst. It's not the kind of crystal that you need to fake. They're not expensive. But yeah, that's gone black over the years. So maybe there's something to it. I don't know. But I'm going to get her another one just in case. Hey, evening, Andrew. How you doing? Maybe gas that used to be in the atmosphere at different properties. Yeah, there's all sorts that could have changed over the eons that the planet's been around, or the however many thousands of years humans have been around. I mean, we've lived through a couple of ice ages, so who knows what happens in between them. One theory I did read about dragons breathing fire was that it wasn't breathing fire, it was a burp. Basically, they were belching methane from their stomach, and they were able to make a spark with their teeth or something in their mouth to ignite the methane. And now, speaking of someone who has lit a burp, and we know there are electrical animals that can create sparks. Well, hell, I've done it more than once where I've electrocuted someone just by wearing polyester. Yeah, I wouldn't say we're more stupid than we were. We've lost a lot of knowledge. The pursuit of pure science, we've lost and the getting rid of all the folklore and the other stuff, usually via religious means. We've lost a lot of knowledge that we used to have and we don't have anymore. And if you kind of wedge everything together, then you might be able to make some sense out of it and understand something. Good. About to travel to Cornwall in a few hours. Ooh, hopefully you get decent weather. I think we've got an Atlantic storm coming, so let's hope it doesn't affect the south. Yeah, it's the victors of the wars who write the history in the books. So yeah. The epoxy is dry, wiring is hot, currently working on water supply. Got to be better than last year. You say that. Don't. Just remember to pay attention to the waves this time, okay? But yeah, have fun. Tight lines and try not to get drowned. Yeah, 3 times. 3 storms in 2 weeks last year. Well, this time of year, last year, it was basically storm after storm after storm, wasn't it? It sort of flooded from wherever the first one was. Storm. What was it called? Yeah, Helen. Yeah, Helena. Helen. Yeah. Although Tampa Tom is doing rather well out of Helen. Bought the jackets. Taking the gas canister out on us. Oh yeah. I followed it, yeah. Hopefully they've fixed the damage a lot quicker than they have done in Louisiana, New Orleans in particular. Because apparently there's still parts of New Orleans which are flattened and they've not been rebuilt yet because it costs people money, companies that don't want to spend money. Should have an adjuster instead of getting the insurance license. Be there helping with claims and helping clean up too. I know you would. I mean, admittedly, I didn't actually do anything last year when we had the floods, but there wasn't really a lot I could do. I listened to people. I gave them something to vent at while I was selling them water pumps and wet and dry vacs and all the other things and accoutrement associated with flooding. Pardon me. Screws, yes. Surprisingly, not too many of them. Plenty of plaster. Damp proof. Bigger drains. That kind of stuff. Like this weekend, I've been selling lots of axes and chainsaws to deal with the various trees and fences that came down last Friday or this Friday. Yeah, so Babette, that was the one. That was the storm we had that flooded everything. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Everywhere's flooded, right? That soon drop. It's not close to Go Outdoors, but one is. You've got the Go Outdoors on Barker Street in Norwich, which is like 3 doors down from Screwfix and Halfords. I'm at Screwfix in my town, I don't cycle to Norwich every day. There last Saturday. Oh cripes! Who do I know anyone who works in Barker Street? Probably. But yeah, I've been in there. There's the end of the Marriott's Way, which I've cycled, actually comes out. The end of it is literally at that roundabout. You're in Go Outdoors. Yeah, I've been in there a few times. Good place to be a member of, for like a £5 a year to get the membership card, and then you've only got to buy one or two little things and you've got your money back. Unfortunately, I don't need anything right now. And I probably wouldn't touch most of the fishing gear in there with the barge pole. But that's just me, and I'm a bit snobby about fishing gear, as I know what I like. Yeah, I've got some decent camping stuff. It's as I say, it's a go outdoors. It's got all this kind of outdoorsy type stuffs you could want. Looking at the kayaks just in case stops again. Yeah, kayak. I can just see you and Donna going down the street in your kayak. Would you go for individuals or a two-seater? Because then whoever's in the back of the two-seater can get away with not paddling. Yeah, two-seater. It's like a tandem boat. There are some ridiculous tandem bicycles as well. If you've ever seen a tandem downhill mountain bike, that looks particularly terrifying. Going down a proper mountain bike trail on a tandem. So you're not entirely in control. If you're at the front, you're relying on the person at the back knowing what to do and doing what you want them to do when you get to a corner. Weight shift or make sure they've got the inside pedal up, that kind of thing. Most fishing gear I get online. What do I need? Yeah, I mean, little bits like just end tackle or whatever, then yeah, I'll get that online. Things like rods and reels, poles, generally the kind of thing you want to have a good fondle of first before you buy it. Look at an old road tandem, too expensive. Yeah, they are expensive things, but they don't make many of them. Reels is good. I used to get quite a bit from Angling Direct, but then also there's the actual shop from Angling Direct is in Norwich. So what I used to do was go up to Norwich, do other stuff, but then go in Angling Direct and like fondle the reels and the rods, and as you do, and then come home and order it, because it'd be cheaper to order it online than it would be to buy it in the shop. And they don't price match their own website, which is kind of silly. Yeah, very English. But thankfully, we actually got a pretty decent tackle shop in Attleborough. You get arrested for fondling the rods. Well, you got to get consent first. Once you got consent, you're fine. Consent on private property, and you can fondle all the rods you like. Yeah, so we've got a decent tackle shop in Attleborough, so I used to get most of my bits from there. It'd only be sort of things that you don't really need to see or feel to buy that would be noticeably cheaper online. I think I did get my map pole online, but Mick said he's like, yeah, buy it online because I can't sell it to you at that price. He's like, yeah, what you can buy it for online is what me to buy it. I'm like, right, okay. Yeah, but I'll get all the other bits from you, the elastics, the bungs, all the other floats, lines, all that kind of stuff I got from him. So, and the carbon fiber landing net handle, which is still just so bling. Yes, you know you've got all the fishing gear you want when you go out and you spend 50 odd quid on a carbon fiber landing net handle. And then you're sitting there at the lake fishing away, and some random dude walks past you, and you're like, what the hell? You got carbon fiber landing net handle? Yeah. It's lighter and it's stiffer and it can take more weight. Why wouldn't I? As I'm sat there with all decent gear in a proper fishing chair with side table and brolly, PVU brolly set up, and everything's right. And there's my 150 quid mountain bike just laid there on its side. Wood frame is standing, time for a break, definitely. If you got the frame built for the rack, then it's time for a break. Then once it's all built and dried and sorted, that's when you get the rubberized paint out. All the latex, is it latex these days they use? And you paint the whole thing with that, because then it makes the wood waterproof and it doesn't warp or split or do anything nasty if it gets wet. Because these are 1/4 inch or what, 8mm maybe, something like that. MDF shelves. Right, and I'm not neat and tidy, so there gets plenty of water spilt on them. But I painted them with exterior gloss paint, so they're completely waterproof. And I remember to do all 6 sides as well. I think they've got about 3 coats on each shelf. Well, that's been there for however many years, and there's no sign at all of the wood, of the MDF starting to disintegrate. Oh crap, I used emulsion. Yeah, emulsion is not known for its waterproofing qualities. If you use actual wood, you should be okay. Yeah. Now, if you use actual timber, lumber, whatever you want to call it, you should be okay for several years at least. And no one knew about paint before I started working for a hardware store. And not just from building scale models, also working in a paintbrush factory for many, many years. Working in the paintbrush factory, I learned about the different kinds of brushes and different kinds of paints that you use whichever one on. G'day, darling Deli, how you doing? 10 by 10 by 4 inch, yeah, you should be okay. It's funny that we start talking about wood and Adele turns up. Yeah, so I learned about the different kinds of paint while I worked in the paintbrush factory. And when I started getting kind of deep and nerdy into making models, I learned about the paint chemistries. which does kind of confuse some customers when they're looking for paint in a hardware store and they just think it's just gloss or emulsion. No. Whoa. Oh. Though you're lovely. We know that. We just got to get you to know that now. No, I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to go down that route. That route leads to danger. That route leads to Adele buying a plane ticket to England and beating the crap out of me. No, we're not going to go that way. So cryptids. And Debs is here as well, so there you go. That's why we were talking about wood. We were talking about building racks and what kind of paints you use to protect the wood from the moisture. And those racks for fish tanks, not racks of any other description. It's quite amusing at work. I had someone, because we sell basically the same rack, just a different name brand on it. Exactly the same thing in the box. You know how it is. They all come out the same factory. You just put different labels on. And someone was concerned about it holding like some of their power tools and using it as a sharpener. Oh, will the shells be strong enough? No, will it be strong enough to hold? Jeff's in that video as well then. Have you invited your neighbours around to see your deck? When I fly to the UK, you visit me and take some cheap fish home. Before I started thinking about Dick Stain. Yeah, so they were saying, you know, will these shells be strong enough to hold this, that, and the other? I'm like, I've got the same rack at home. Oh, well, what have you got on it? 7 fish tanks. Oh. I'm like, yeah, it's holding like, what we got? 30, 60, 90, 180. I'm like, yeah, it's holding about 180 litres of water on each shelf. I'm like, yeah, okay. It's strong enough to hold some power tools and a couple of pots of paint then. Yeah, just a bit. And I wouldn't want to try climbing it because it'd probably fall over, but I'm sure, Adele, if you did come to the UK, you wouldn't have to worry about hotels or anything. Plenty of fishy peeps that you could just knock on the door and go, I need a bed for the night. Can I look around your fish room? That's probably what I'd do if I ever went to the States, to be honest. Right, I'm in, name whichever state, or I'm in Maryland. Who do I know lives in Maryland? I know. Scott. Hey, Scotty, you got a spare bedroom? Got somewhere I can crash for the night? 150p puffers will fit well in a box. It fits in a suitcase. Yeah, but Sam, I wouldn't want a separate bed. I'd want to be Little Spoon. Oh, God, I disgust myself some days. come to California, I'll flip a court and see who's baby string. Exactly. I don't care. As I've said before quite a few times, if I ever turned up to Aqua Smeller or any of the other fishy events in the States, I probably wouldn't get to see much for quite a while, because I'd probably end up being going around hugging everybody. Turn up at the fish tube booth and big name sort of fish tubers are like, who's this dude? Never seen him before. Still out with the dog park, decide not to listen to me, so I'm done throwing the ball for her. Exactly. And Andrew's had a hug. George Farmer's had a hug. Kay's had a hug. So, yeah, I figured it would be Ball because you're in California, not bottom end of Texas. Although it wouldn't surprise me if El Trump and Fuhrer did decide to put a wall in California. Stop them goddamn Haitians. Wrong side of the country, Donald. They come over here eating all our pets. No, they don't. Time to test for leaks. Oh dear. Fingers crossed for you, Jeff. The two sounds that scare the absolute Jesus out of fish keepers: dripping water and silence. When you wake up in the middle of the night because it's gone silent and you're like, uh-oh, I can't hear bubbles or water moving. No, filters. Keep your shop, yeah, good idea. Keep your shop back on hand. At least a bucket. No. So what made me laugh most about that wall is that it doesn't cross everything. And this is an unclimbable wall. You can't climb the wall. It's a very good wall. And literally a day later, there's videos of Mexicans climbing up and down it, climbing to the top, sliding back down, climbing up, sliding back down again. Yeah, it didn't really work, did it? Yeah, I mean, as a Brit, obviously slightly different because we don't have land borders with anyone. Well, we do, Scotland, Wales, and Cornwall, but we kind of took those countries over quite a long time ago, and we're not going to give them back. Gated, yes, that's sleep occurs in room. A wall for safety in the same way a fence or locks on our doors. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, if anyone hears a scream from Mevagissey Harbour, hide the life buoys. So that means Donna's just been thrown in. Yeah, razor wire and gators to stop people crossing. I mean, the thing is, the answer is fairly simple, as I see it. The reason I hate getting political, but here's my take on it from the outside looking in. Right? The reason Mexicans come to America is to seek a better life. Now, if that's causing a lot of trouble, maybe try and help Mexico out so that people want to stay in Mexico because it's a nice place to be. Right. Yeah, help Mexico, improve Mexico, the Mexican economy, and so everyone's got a better quality of life, and then perhaps they won't want to move. Just a thought. We're all the same tribe at the end of the day. We just have slightly different cultures and languages and whatever, but we're all people. Doesn't really matter where you go in the world. If you talk to the average Joe, Juchin, Jose, or whatever on the street, they're just normal people. They just want to get on with their lives. They're friendly, helpful. It's the people at the top that cause the problems, not the people at the bottom. Um, what's his name? I can see his face and I can hear the music, but I can't remember the name. Henry Rollins, that was it. Because he's done a lot of traveling of the world, and he's done a lot of spoken word stuff talking about his travels. And as he generally says, yeah, he goes somewhere and then they go, yeah, all the touristy stuff's this way, and he goes that way because he doesn't want to see the touristy stuff. He wants to see the real country, the real people. Yeah, when you find it in nature, religion, meditation, just find it. Yeah. As Ozzy Osbourne said, learn how to love and forget how to hate. And who would have thought Ozzy Osbourne writing a song called Crazy Train? Listen to the lyrics in that, or if you can't listen to it, just read the lyrics for Crazy Train, and it makes an awful lot of sense. And one of the other things I love is how the Satanic Temple, or Church of Satan, or whatever you want to call them, I think there's a few. They keep basically using the Constitution to stop people from doing things that would be against the Constitution by basically installing Christianity in places it shouldn't be, like schools. That whole thing was Florida, wanting to put chaplains in schools. And then the Satanic Temple said, yeah, we'll do that. We've got plenty of people who want to go into schools and help the children and the students and what have you. And it was suddenly like, oh no, well, we don't want you. Well, according to the Constitution, you can't. You can't discriminate because we're not following the same religion. Oh, let's think about this one a bit. And yeah, so thankfully that went, that happened. Believe in a grand architect of the universe by a poor religion. Yeah, I mean, believe, to me personally, everyone's entitled to believe what they want to believe. But organized religion, you look at pretty much most of the problems in the world is caused by people having different religions. All the stuff is going on in the Middle East at the moment. That's purely religious. It's, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I've got a religion. If I've got anything on kind of somewhat spiritual, but yeah. The only thing that's killed more people than mosquitoes, or killed more people than religion, is mosquitoes, I should say, which is kind of ridiculous. Especially when most of them are all about loving people. Have you have your own personal beliefs. Everyone's entitled to believe what they like. It's actually in the Human Rights Act. So I'm basically a world, whatever the world court's called, it's a human right to be able to have your own belief and your own religion or whatever. But it still comes up too much in government, whichever country. Thankfully, it doesn't really cause that much governmental or political issue in the UK anymore. Yeah, it's just don't try and force people to believe what you believe. Listen to each other. Go, oh, that's your belief system. Okay, well, this is my belief system. They're different, but there are certain common grounds we share. So therefore, we don't have to hate each other. We can be friends and still have different ideologies. So you can still be friends and have different political leanings. It's it just takes a bit of thought, understanding, and intellect and care. It's like the argument. Yeah, appreciate the differences between each other, because my belief system might not be that well thought out, and your belief system might answer a question I've got. Well, I'm going, what? Oh, what? Huh? You go, oh, well, this is what I think. And I'll go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Hmm, yeah, yeah, that's a good one, yeah. Now, how can I fit that in with my system of thinking? And then everyone moves forward. And then we get a slasher murderer. Good evening, Mr. Myers. Uh, yeah, it's as Bill and Ted said, be excellent to each other. Pretty much covers it, doesn't it? That all, as Adam Hills likes to say, don't be a dick. Covers the lot. What's hanging inside the last victim's head from the meat hook in the garage? Speaking of which, I've got to go because I've gone through that in an hour and a quarter. So I need to get rid of some of it. Back in a minute. Speak amongst yourselves. and extra slurps. Here we go. I shall think you'll have another hum and a ha, a hum and a ha, a hum and a hum and a hum and a ha. Well, just as long as you don't do it in a William Shatner style, it will all be okay. And just as long as I don't start singing, we'll all be okay. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yes, it is dark outside again. It is that time of year, Tommy. It's that time of year where it gets dark early again. It gets dark about 7 at the moment. Yeah, so by the end of October, when the clocks go back, it will be getting dark about 5 p.m. So yay! This is the dark side. I live on the dark side. I live on the dark, spiky side. I must be dehydrated or something. The amount I'm drinking this evening, I don't know. Hang on. Is it me, or does where the Val is growing across? Does that look like some kind of shark or dead giant pleco sitting there? Almost a 2. Well, that's jumped up then. I've been at 1800 odd for about 3 years. It's one of those, it goes up a couple, then comes down a couple, but I don't tend to look at it too often. I really should upload more content. Maybe that's why it stopped going up. Or maybe I should have just stuck to one thing rather than all sorts of different stuff. But hey. Famous Harry. All right, Harry. How you doing, Harry? And that's probably gone over the head of everyone who's not British. A Frank Bruno impression, heavyweight boxer who's basically spent most of his career, as far as I remember, getting knocked out by Mike Tyson. He was beloved and famous because he had heart, and he just kept going and kept going and kept going and wouldn't give up. And that's why he now has some serious brain injuries. Yeah, professional canvas sleeper. I mean, he was a good boxer, but yeah, he was a heavyweight. At the same time, Mike Tyson was in his prime, so and he could take a punch. He really could. That was the thing with Frank Bruno. There's not many people who took hooks and uppercuts from Mike Tyson and got back up again. A few brain injuries, and one more concussion. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've had many a concussion. There's probably some form of encephalopathy going on in my head. Just if I get Parkinson's, then just make sure I've got my hand around my knob. Yeah, at least I'll be happy. Oh, there's definitely bits of my brain that don't do much. Or the odd occasion they do decide to fire up and weird stuff happens. Like yesterday at work, I was weirdly awake and like positive and up and energetic, and I think I scared most of my colleagues. My brain was on like full form, instant comebacks. You know, weirdly brutal acts at that. And then I was like skipping and doing ballet and things like that, which a man of my age and size should not be doing. Not be convinced otherwise until these magic doors stop making me forget the reason I walked through them. Tommy, that's the bathroom door and you need the toilet. That's what that is. Or it's the refrigerator and you need a snack. That's one of the signs of age, apparently, isn't it? You walk into the bathroom and forgot why you went in there. And you get back down, I say back downstairs, as is usual in the UK, and then you go, oh yeah, I needed the loo. And then you go back up again. Got to pee, now my thighs are warm. Well, yeah, there's the upside. You've got a nice warm feeling going on. There have been times when I've been fishing in the winter and I've needed a pee, and I thought, I'm bloody frozen. Maybe if I just wet myself, I'll warm myself up a bit. And then you think, yeah, that'll work for about 5 minutes until the pee gets cold, and then it will freeze. And I'll be really uncomfortable as well as smelling bad. So then it's a case of trying to get the thermals and the windproofs and everything out of the way so you can have a pee without peeing down your own leg. Or in the summer when there's everyone at the lake, so there's nowhere you can go, and it's sort of like go where no one can see you. So you're like, right, well, I'm going to have to. You sort of like work your shorts leg up and then work him out the end of the shorts, and you just hopefully, yeah, we're good. Multitask far too often. So in the middle of 7 to 10 projects, can't remember which I was venturing off for. Yeah. Get partway through one thing and start something else, and then another thing, and you end up not getting anything done. Easily done. So I do try to make sure I just do one thing at a time and get that done, then move on to the next. I find lists are very helpful. So, for example, I've got a day off. I know, right, this is what I've got to get done today. So I'll scribble them all down, and then I'll reorganize the list into the best order to do things in. Because there's no point putting shopping at the top of the list when the shops won't be open. Or water changes at the top of the list, and like, or tank maintenance, and the lights won't be on, that kind of thing. Or go cut garden. Well, there's no point cutting stuff in the garden until the garden bin's been emptied. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So I try and make a list and do it as efficiently as possible. I mean, hell, I'm already got a list going for birthday and Christmas presents for Mary. As things come to mind, it's like, right, yeah, write that down, add that to the list. And it might be on a temporary kind of thing before I get home and add it to the list. So, like cigarette papers, quite often there'll be something scrawled on the top of my cigarette paper packet that I've got to remember to do. Yeah. So if I don't make a list, I will procrastinate, and then most of the stuff on the list won't get done. So like Friday, I should have gone shopping, but I was like looking out the window and it was like blowing a gale and piddling down the rain. I thought, I really don't fancy going shopping. I'll leave it. And I didn't do anything. So yesterday morning, I had to go shopping before I went to work and do a bunch of other chores as well. So I could have had it easier on both days by doing a bit each day. I ended up doing it all in one day and wearing myself out more. It's just, I'm very good at procrastinating. If I was going to have a degree in or teach something, it would be that. And then it would be an hour-long lesson where you wouldn't learn anything because I wouldn't have put together a lesson plan or anything like that. It'd be like one of my live streams where I just make it up as I go along. Yeah. I have tried like making a format. I'll do this and then I'll talk about this and then I'll talk about that and make like notes and this is what I'll talk about and this is, and I either get through all of that in like the first 5 minutes and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got nothing else, or or it just goes completely by the wayside. So in the end, I'll stop bothering. Hey ho, Silver, away! Then go. Looks clean and sharp. Jumpsuit got washed, and I'm on my girlfriend. Knife is sharp, and we're all ready to go for this year. Sorted. Did you get yourself a fresh Bill Shatner mask, or are you going to go with the worn-in aroma of the previous year's one? You know, there's something to be said for a bit of comfort and going back to what you know. Oh dear. If I was going to name myself after a horror movie bad guy, who would it be? I don't know. There you go. There's a question for you. Which horror movie villain would I be? I've not got the figure for it, but Pinhead. Uh, it's going to be something fairly grim. Cthulhu, Dagon, something like that. Frankenstein's monster. Well, Frankenstein's monster is not the villain, is it really? It's more Dr. Frankenstein that's the villain. The monster is just misunderstood. I'm sure someone will come up with something. Then I'll have to see if I can do an impression. Please be Pinhead, please be Pinhead, please be Pinhead. Yeah, I better not do a thumbnail for a video where I'm holding a butcher knife going, woohoo, my Suburban holds loads of cadavers. That could get very Weekend at Bernie's. Yes. Oh, imagine that. Weekend at Bernie's, but with like 7 different people in a minivan. That's probably been done. Yeah, the horror movie version of that would be quite good. Oh, what's that song? Apparently they're remaking The Exorcist. Yeah, that's not going to be as good as the first one. And if there was any movie that you wouldn't remake, generally because of what happened on the scene of on the sets of the first one, you know, it might be telling you perhaps not to do it. Is it practical to have a top-off container built into a corner of my rack? Yeah, if you got the space, you can put one in there. I'd make sure you add a lid so the top-off container doesn't evaporate, and then a bubbler in there of some description so that it doesn't go stagnant. But yeah. You could even just use that to, I don't know, grow baby brine into adult brine shrimp as well. Because I'm sure some things would like to eat adult brine shrimp, not just babies. I'm so tempted though. Any space you got? Yeah, exactly. If you got the space, use it. I mean, just a plastic tote or something like that with a lid on it, bubbler in there, job done. Or just a cheap power filter. It doesn't really matter because you're just trying to keep the water moving. Power head, something like that. You don't want it at the top. I mean, at the top would probably be best because then you could fit a spigot onto it or a tap with a hose coming out. Then you literally just pop the hose in the top of whichever tank you want to fill up and turn it on. Rainwater thing, yeah, go for it. Can't hurt, can it? I mean, the rack's definitely strong enough. Yeah, can't see any reason why not. If you've not got, ooh, ow, you. If you've not got a tank to go there, then you may as well use the space. There's no point wasting space, is there? If you can fit something useful, even better. I might be tempted to put things like test kits and foods and stuff like that there, but pardon me. And as it's wood, you could just screw like cup hooks into the frame and just hang nets and stuff off those. Probably what I'd do, unless you wanted to get really posh and use magnetic strips and hope that everything's made out of steel. Not pot metal. Actually, that's not. That is a point. Let's grab a random net. Is that actually made out of steel? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, this was a present from Mary. A torch with a magnet on the end, but I mean, I don't use it very often like that, but it does come in useful when you drop things down the back of things. I mean, you're like, where the hell did that go? Everything is stainless steel. Yeah. Yeah, especially like model kit parts. If you drop them on the floor, especially smaller parts, they can be hard to see. So to be able to just have a light that you can do that and literally shine it across the carpet or the floor, and you pick up the shadows of whatever you dropped quite easily. Only thing with that is you kind of find every other thing that's on the floor that shouldn't be there. But yeah, that does come in useful. Come on, stick. It's not the most powerful of magnets, but yeah, I think most of my stuff is steel. There's probably a couple of nets that aren't, but I just keep everything in a bucket in the corner. Does the trick. And it's a bucket that I can't use for water changes anymore because the bucket's split, which is an interesting water change. Why is my foot getting wet while I'm carrying the bucket? It's not slopping out. Oh, yes. Thankfully, my other bucket is a bit more heavy duty, so that one hasn't split. It might be an idea to get myself another bucket though. We do sell white buckets, which might be an idea. Get one of those, especially for then, you know, things like shrimp, because then you can actually see things in the bucket, or fish even. These fish tend to be dark on the top, and if you're using a black bucket, then generally they're a lot harder to see than if the bucket's white. So I might have to do that. Get a white bucket. But then I've got to make sure the bucket is the right height that I can actually get it in the kitchen sink under the tap. Although I could have one bucket to take the water out, one bucket to put clean water back in, and that would mean I wouldn't be at risk of moving snails between tanks accidentally. That sounds a good plan. Benefit with marine tanks is salt usually turns up in buckets. Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't buy buckets or anything. I tend to buy it by the sack, because I had some algae wafers turn up this week. On the top of the bag, don't pick it up by the bottom of the bag, because then they'll all fall out. So yeah, kilo of algae wafers, 2.2 pounds if you don't know your metric. That'll last me a couple of months perhaps. And the flake is going down. Yeah, I mean, flake food doesn't exactly weigh much. They're not going to put it in a heavyweight bucket, are they? And what is that? I mean, that was a kilo of flake in there. You compare that to the size of a kilo of algae wafers. Oh, catappa leaves. Oh, I forgot that was down there. How many have we got left? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we've got 4 catappa leaves left as well. Have to stick one of them in the black water tank. Not that it makes the water go any blacker than alder cones or rainwater that's been filtered through dead leaves and moss, but And a little bit of fishy news, because last week I did swap the longfin super red that turned out to be a male for another super red in with Fred. The longfin got renamed as Finbar, and but yes, Fred has been cleaning out his cave, so I think I might have put a female in this time. So fingers crossed we might start getting super red babies again. Although they will all be short fin this time, in theory. Yeah. Usually when adult bristlenose pleco starts cleaning out the cave, then that usually means they're ready for breedy. Although the female's not very big, so if they do breedy, there won't be many. But that's fine, because I don't want huge amounts of bristlenoses again. I'm back up to 1,000. That's plenty enough. Yes, 1,000 bristlenoses. Ho hum. Yes, I'm aware most suppliers don't carry that much. Warehouses and farms and whatever probably don't have that many bristlenoses at a time. But there we go. The Amica Splendens are doing good. The babies are growing. So hopefully before too long we'll have too many of them and we'll start selling those. Usual level of carnage in there. I have spotted a couple of baby Corys as well lately, so fingers crossed with those. Limia are doing Limia things. Bristly's doing Bristly things. That one odd black neon is still in there. I think it thinks it's a Limia now. And the various shrimpy tanks are doing okay. Bristly's doing okay. Yeah. Should I mount a 3D background? That's sort of the back's covered in black and blue foil. I mean, a 3D background would look better in the tank, but then you do have the whole thing of it getting covered in algae and fish getting stuck behind it and that kind of thing. Personally, I would just paint the backs of the tanks black. Use an acrylic primer, a black acrylic primer. And that'll be easy to put on and also easy to get off again when you want to change it or you want to do something else. Most acrylic primers are just available in black, grey or white, unfortunately. And it takes up a fair bit of space inside the tank as well. Yeah, just don't go with one of those sort of plasticky backgrounds that you put on the back of the tank that are meant to look like a coral reef or something like that, and they don't. Or if it is a photo of it, it's just so out of scale with the rest of the tank. Because everything on the background is so big, but it's the background, so it should all be smaller, not larger. Yeah. I've yet to see one of those that looks good. They just remind me too much of like 1980s tacky fish tanks with fake plants and castles, and you know what they were like. Just not a good look, really. Well, not these days anyway. And back in the 80s or 90s, that was pretty much what we had, was pea gravel and fake decorations to go in the tank. And yeah, definitely not for me. So the only fake things in my tanks are Cookie Monster, Choya Hoya wood thing in there that's resin, and that little cavey thing down there. But even that's been in the tank for so long, it kind of looks natural now because it's got algae growing on it. Yeah, literally everything else in the tanks is real, natural, rather than and obviously the pleco caves aren't natural, but what are you going to do? And the odd kind of bit of pottery or terracotta, but yeah, other than that, it's all real. And even then, those tend to end up with algae and interesting stuff's growing on them, so they don't stand out at all. It's calm down. What are you up to? I heard that. Hey, mister. Yeah, you. Behave. Yeah, don't you look at me like that. Come on. This way. I promise I don't train my fish. Put my hand up here. No, maybe not. I say, space inside a fish tank is, even in a bigger fish tank, why would you want to waste space? Yeah, so anything like that mounts to the back of the tank like a 3D background. Yeah, it can happen anywhere in any tank, but you do hear about things getting stuck in the background. Mind you, same way I hear all the horror stories about fluvial flexes, about fish getting trapped in the back and dying, or oh, you can't put shrimp in there because the shrimp will get in the back of the tank, and then yeah, and they quite happily live back there. And yes, fry can get through and get into the back compartments of a flex, but you just got to have a look, and you can see whether there's anything in there, and then you can take precautions so it doesn't end up getting sucked through past the filter and then into the pump. Quite easy. And oh my god, it's the Tennessee fish keeper. Long time no see. So how the devil are you? Who wants to collect who does not give a rip? Halloween is coming up, but you put me on the porch to scare the kids away. Yeah, stick me in a monkey outfit and put me on the porch. And if you get that joke, don't say anything about it. Like a background that looks more natural on the outside, not on the inside. Yeah, because on the inside you've got to glue it in. And if you've got room, I mean, if you've got a 3D background that you could try behind the tank, you can see what it looks like. I've got a feeling it'll probably look a bit strange. Hey, we all have lives. I don't have a go at anyone for, you know, I don't expect people to turn up every week. Why weren't you there? Why are you late? To me, if people want to turn up and have a listen, have a chat, have a laugh, that's great. I'm honoured. Right? You deigned to spend some of your precious time, because time is precious for all of us. You deigned to spend some of it with me, and I appreciate that. Okay, because you put something in your nose on the profile pic. Yeah, I just do silly things on profile pics on thumbnails for the live streams. So yeah, artery forceps up my nose, like I was pulling out a nose hair or something. I wasn't. It just came to me as a silly thumbnail to do. And so I don't hold anyone to, you've got to be here. If you want to be here, be here. That's great. Love it. If you've got other things to do, life gets in the way, you've got something better to do, you forget, I'm not going to hold a grudge. Too many friends, exactly. It's because you're too likable. See, you're more of an arse like I am, and you don't have many friends. Actually, is it because I'm an arse, or is it because I just don't like being around people? Probably a bit of both. I'm an extroverted introvert. Yeah, maybe. Just be yourself. That's the main thing. I mean, maybe, you know, add a slight filter when you're on YouTube or somewhere, you know, public. But to quote the late great Chris Cornell, to be yourself is all that you can do. Because you can't please everyone else, so just please yourself. Not pleasure. Well, yeah, you can pleasure yourself, but you know, you can't make other people happy if you're not happy. And if you're happy and content, then that spreads. The love spreads. Yes, that's another musical one. Nobody accepts me. Aren't interested in fish keeping. Well, yeah. You know, you're a fish and bike nerd. You know, that's a very small niche of people. 2 so far. Me and you. It's as we were saying earlier, everyone's different. We all have our different beliefs, hobbies, things we enjoy, things we can't stand, tastes. We just accept that we're all different. Those of us who do that, we all get on fine. You know, we can even go, I don't particularly like this person. But it doesn't mean I have to spread crud or hate on them. I can just, yeah, okay, I don't particularly like that person. I'll be polite and pleasant. We've all got or had that co-worker that we can't stand, but you just get on with them for the sake of a peaceful workplace. It's the same in the rest of life. Usually I'm in here, you're smoking a ciggy, but I think YouTube's making a rule about it. Then we've got the Phil Collins look. Oh, you absolute. I do not look like Phil Collins. I might have the hairline. I do not look like Phil Collins. I can feel it coming in my pants tonight. Oh Lord. Oh, that's the wrong words, isn't it? I shouldn't sing. Mind you, at least I won't get copyright struck for that. Because I changed it. I'll get called worse than Phil Collins, crying out loud. Actually, would I be happy to have Phil Collins' money? Because I think he's fairly broke now, isn't he? He's fairly broke for Phil Collins, I think is the way to put it. Divorce took everything, basically. And people aren't buying his music anymore. So there is that. But anyway, just to prove I haven't given up, and even if YouTube says, oh no, you can't smoke in a video, I don't smoke in videos, I do smoke in my live streams. So tough. Am I cool with Curly or do I want to punch him? Yeah, I'm cool. I generally don't want to punch anyone. Usually not worth the aggro and hassle. So these days, if I don't get on with someone, I just leave them to it. It was a nice day. I successfully destroyed my living and fish. Oh dear. Did you have a leak? Have you electrocuted yourself? Anyway, as I say, my 2 hours and a bit is up. So I don't know if anyone else is streaming now. If they are, go pay them a visit. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you. Yay, no leaks for Jeff. Just not great. Cool. Can get parts for a good price, but fish is too expensive. Fish keep going up. The trick is to breed them yourself and make more. Just not that many. Yeah. Thank you very much for a fun and thought-provoking live stream. We'll see you again. Hopefully more of the same next week. Stay safe. Have a good week. Peace out. Rock on. Bye-bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. I'm not Phil Collins do 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 do. Not Phil Collins do 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 do.